Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm not sure if anyone is planning to join, but as always, I will post the playback in the group with your homework assignment. Hopefully, some of you had the opportunity to take advantage of last week's assignment, which was to do your power hour. Comment that you had finished it on last week's post, as well as one takeaway, one thing that you learned from it. Okay, so this week's topic is to talk about different levels of rank advancement and what you should be doing at that point in your business to advance to that level, that next level. Okay, so let me share my screen. There we go. All right, so when everybody starts out, you're just kind of learning the business. You probably don't know a whole lot about what rank advancement even is and what it means for you. But basically, the reasons why it's important is a couple of things. One, it's going to make you eligible for Team Cycle Bonus. So every time you make so many points on both sides of your team, which would be 100 points on your weak side and 200 points on your strong side. Every time that happens, you cycle, and you basically get a bonus paid to you every week, based on how many times you cycle during that week. So the more people you have on your team, the higher in rank you are, the more you're going to receive from that. So definitely a good thing in that respect. It's another incentive for you to work on growing your team, because there are certainly additional bonuses and rewards that you can earn based on which level of rank you are at the time. You can also qualify for certain recognition events and things of that nature at different Beachbody events, which is also really cool. And of course, the higher you are in rank, it means you're helping more people. You're helping more people to work on their own businesses. You're helping more people to get healthy. So all around, it's a good and rewarding thing. Okay, so first, again, like I said, when you start out, you're just a regular coach status. You don't qualify for Team Cycle Bonus. You're just kind of starting out, learning the business, starting to work on getting customers. Okay, so the next step beyond that is to get to Emerald. And what should you be doing to go from coach to Emerald? Well, you should be working on your 4 vital behaviors daily. So what are those behaviors? I know we covered this before, but it is making sure that you are a product of the product. So you should be doing your workouts. You should be drinking your Shakeology, and you should be documenting that on your social media outlets and in your groups. Okay. You should also be doing your personal development. Again, that could be reading a personal development book. That could be watching podcasts from people that you admire. That could be reading up on training in the back office. Whatever it is, just setting 10 minutes aside a day to do that. Another vital behavior is to recognize. So again, you're going to recognize people who are in your challenge groups, to support them and recognize their achievements. And then lastly is to invite. Obviously, you should be inviting people to your challenge groups. When you're first starting out, you're probably not going to be running your own challenge groups to start, but you probably have, a coach that invited you to be on their team, and most likely at that point they are running their own, and they should be inviting you to come into your challenge group so you can see how they're run, and you can invite some of your people as well. And you should also be creating your page on Facebook. I know I explained how to do that before. With Instagram now, they do have a business version of the app. So you can, if you have a personal account on there, you can actually switch it to business, and it allows you to promote posts on there just like you would on Facebook. So make sure you have those things set up. A lot of times when you're first starting out, it's a good idea to enroll in a in a coach basics group. That group is going to teach you how to use the back office. It's going to get you started off on the right foot, like understanding how to invite to groups, how to run groups, and everything there is to know when you first start out as a coach. Obviously, you should be listening to the National Wake Up Calls, which is every Monday. It's 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I think. I usually catch the playback because I'm always at work, so I can't, listen when they're on live. But they're recorded, and they are, you call that same number as though you were calling in live, and you can listen to it anytime throughout the end of the week. So make sure you're doing that because there's a lot of good stuff on there. Usually top coaches are on giving their background, their story, and advice that they have for you. So it's always good to, listen to that. And sorry, my cat is being really creepy. Opening doors. Okay. And you want to start, okay, I already said the challenge group thing. Of course, by this point, you should be pretty familiar with how to use your back office, how to navigate through that. And again, I know I did a training on that before, so if you need a refresher, you can always go back. You want to make sure that you have researched the products. Okay, this is like a really big thing, especially when you're talking to people about trying Shakeology. I know everyone makes this mistake when they're brand new. They're really excited about it, and they're like, "Oh, you should drink this. It tastes so good." And somebody asks you, "Well, what's in it?" And you have no idea. Okay, so make sure you really understand the product, what it can do for you, what the ingredients are, so that you're very knowledgeable about it when people have questions. All right. Same with the workout programs. Whatever program it is that you're doing, make sure you understand the science behind it. Why was it developed the way it was? What types of workouts are in the program? How many minutes a day are they? How long is the entire program? What sort of equipment do you need? Make sure you know all of that stuff. Because again, the more knowledgeable you are about it, the more likely somebody is going to be to trust you to recommend something to them. Okay. And of course, to go Emerald, you need to bring on 2 people as coaches under you on your team. Okay. Once you've reached Emerald, the next step is to advance to Ruby. A lot of times people skip Ruby, and I'll explain why in a little bit. Sometimes they go right from Emerald to Diamond. Not always, though. So as an Emerald that's aspiring to be a Ruby, you're still going to complete all those same activities we just talked about that a coach would be doing. Now you may begin to start hosting your own challenge groups, not necessarily tagging along to your upline coaches, but starting your own. They could be, to start out, they could be free groups. They could be the ones where you're simply giving them, a mini challenge every week. I know Carrie does that a lot with her challengers, which is a really great way to get people trusting you and get them motivated, but there's no financial commitment on their end. Okay. So that's a good way to start. And then as you are bringing in challengers, again, your goal really is to help them, support them so that they're able to achieve the results they're looking for. Okay, that's what a coach does, right? Makes sense. At this point, you could also start, maybe not necessarily running. I should have put inviting people to sneak peeks to coaching. Usually your upline has something going on like that, and you can ask to be invited into it and invite your prospective coaches. Okay. So again, it's just a way for you to get an idea of what a sneak peek looks like. You don't have to be responsible for providing the information, but you're inviting people to learn about the business. Okay. At this point, you should also start holding regular trainings for your downline, like me. Okay. If you want your team to grow, you got to make sure they know what they're doing. So, of course, you want to train them on relevant topics. Okay. Regular recognition is also a good thing. If you have a coach that does something spectacular, whether, they sell their first challenge pack, or they bring on their first coach on their team, or now they have broke their record for number of challenge packs in the month, whatever it is. Just make sure you are trying to recognize people on your team. It's going to keep them motivated. It's going to keep them wanting to grow their business. You should also at this point be scheduling regular power hours. I will be honest, I am guilty of slacking on this in the last month or so. But when I was doing it, I was getting in front of a lot more people. I was building my network. It's very important. And it helps minimize your guilt for not being able to spend a lot of time on your business if you have another full-time job. If you commit 1 hour to it and do the different steps that I outlined in last week's training, it's going to keep you focused and able to get through what you need to get through in that hour, and then just be done with it for the day. You should also have a system developed for tracking people that you've been talking to. Again, I know I talked about this before, but every time you have a new prospect, make sure you're writing down somewhere, when you talk to them, some important things about them through your forming process. Where do they live? What's their occupation? Are they married? Do they have kids? Also important to write down their why. Why is it that they are talking to you about getting healthy? What's the reasoning behind it? Okay, all very important things to remember. And if you didn't get anywhere with them the first time, write down the time to follow up with them. And of course, to go to Ruby, you now need to bring on one additional coach on each leg. So it's a total of 4 coaches altogether. And the two of your coaches, you need to help them get to Emerald status to become Ruby. Okay. So you should have 2 Emeralds on each side and 1 regular coach on each side. All right. Once you've reached Ruby, your next step is to go to Diamond. Same activities as, again, coach and Emerald status. Now you want to be joining a Emerald to Diamond training group. Okay. I did one of these, or I was invited to one of these earlier in the year. Phenomenal. It just helps get you consistent with power hours, with tracking your business, with posting regularly. It gets you more in that business mindset and bringing people onto your team. So a great thing to be a part of. Make sure you're continuing to develop the coaches that are on your downline. So you're still doing the trainings, maybe spending a little bit more time with your 2 Emerald coaches than you are with necessarily the other 2 regular coaches, because those are the ones that they've shown more of an interest in making it a regular business, and you want to make sure they stick with it and they continue to develop. And then in order to reach Diamond, you're actually adding an additional 2 coaches on each leg. Okay. So now you've got a total of 4 on each leg, and 1 on each side are still Emerald, and then the other 3 on each side are just regular. I mean, they could be Emerald or whatever, but you need at least 1 Emerald on each side. Okay, now that you're Diamond, your next step is to reach 1-star Diamond. Okay, so for that, again, continuing all those same activities we already talked about, but now you're starting to host bigger events for your team. So little get-togethers, little retreats, little group workouts and trainings, things like that. Just being a little bit more involved with them on a face-to-face basis. Now you're starting to work on those 2 Emerald coaches, or maybe you have more than 2, but at least the 2. And you are getting them enrolled now into their Emerald to Diamond training, because you want to work on getting them to Diamond status. That's how you get a star. Every time one of your coaches on your team becomes Diamond, you get a star added to your status. Okay. So obviously to 1-star, you need 1 of those Emeralds to go Diamond. This is a good time to start talking to your team about goals that you have as an overall team. It's a great way to I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, to develop like team motivation and effort. If you guys are all working towards some sort of common goal together, you kind of help push each other forward. All right. There are specific team calls, corporate team calls for new diamonds. So that's when you want to enroll in that. And then you're going to be privy to some corporate news earlier than the rest of the coaches that are lower on the totem pole. So then it's your job to relay that information to your team. Okay. Again, continue to recognize coaches on your team, maybe enhance that a little bit more. And at this point, you should be holding about 2 to 3 different types of challenge groups personally each month. So one thing that I've tried to do, again, I'm not always consistent, and this is why I'm not diamond yet, but one thing I've always tried to do is to have at least one free group every month, and then one actual challenge group where they need to purchase a challenge pack to be involved. So those are the 2 that you could certainly do. There are other things you could add on, as you get more consistent with it and more efficient at it. All right. And of course, now you're going to start doing a lot more with sharing a coaching opportunity. You're actually going to be holding now your own coach sneak peeks at this point. Okay. Next is 2-star diamond to 4-star diamond. Again, now you're just working a lot on developing the coaches that are already on your team. So if you're going to be a 2-star diamond, you need 1 diamond on each side. 3-star, you need 2 and 1, and 4, you need 2 and 2. Okay. So now you're going to start holding weekly calls with just the diamonds on your team. It's a little bit more of an exclusive team call for them. You're still going to do your regular team trainings for everybody on your team, but for the diamonds, they need a little bit more attention because they're the strong people on your team. You want to keep them motivated. You want to keep them consistently developing their teams as well. Okay. Again, you're leading your own Emerald to Diamond groups now at this point. There is a new leader conference that's held, I think, once a year that you should attend at that point. Now you're looking a little bit more bigger picture when you're talking about your team's goals. And I already said you're going to develop 1 to 3 more diamonds on your downline. Okay, and the last step is 5-star to 15-star diamonds. So again, every time you add a star, just means you're adding a diamond to your team somewhere on one of the legs, okay? So at this point, you've got a lot of diamonds on your team. So they have all got their own teams, and you should really be focusing on helping them figure out how they can train their teams to grow, okay? So it's not so much training them to be, them to rank advance themselves. Now they need to focus on building their own team. So you got to train them how to train their teams. That makes sense. At this point, you're probably very busy, okay? So you can start delegating some tasks to your team. You guys know in Team Commit Fitness, Chrissy does that from time to time. She may ask other coaches on the team to lead calls, to lead team calls, to lead coach sneak peeks, to lead coach basics groups, okay? Because she's very busy. She's got a very enormous downline at this point. So for her to keep up with everything and run her challenge groups and develop her personally sponsored coaches, it gets to be a lot. So at that point, at this point, she's starting to delegate some of those tasks out. There is a leadership retreat that is also held once a year. At this point, you would most likely be invited to that. They actually just had one. I follow some of the top coaches on Instagram. So I got to see about 3 or 4 of them in California last week, and I was really extremely jealous because I got to meet Joel and Jericho, who, if you don't know who they are the co-trainers for Core to Force. So super jealous, and I would love to be them someday. And then I know a lot of the top diamond coaches, star diamond coaches, also are holding their own personal team retreats for just their downline. So they're taking them on a trip. Okay. Again, I follow, if you're not already doing this, I recommend you follow Melanie Mitro. That's Melanie, and Mitro is Mitro on Instagram. She was the top coach in the entire Beachbody company for the last 2 years. Okay. Her posts on Instagram are just, they're awesome. I mean, she's posting 3 to 4 times a day. Granted, she's at a point where she doesn't have another full-time job. She's only doing this. But definitely a good person to follow to get some ideas on how you should be posting towards your base. Okay. I think that's about all I have on here. So that should give you guys some idea. As far as homework this week, I'm going to post this with the playback, but what I want you to do is figure out, again, where are you in this? Most of you, I believe, are in, either the coach or the emerald status at this point. Take a look at some of these activities, and I want you to kind of check yourself and ask yourself if you're actually completing these things. And if you're not, I want you to pick, I'm going to say 2 of the things on the list, and I want you to make a conscious effort to start incorporating them into your week, okay? I want you to do it for a whole week, whatever the 2 things are, and I want you to, again, comment on the comment under the playback what those activities were that you did and how it helped improve or increase your focus on your business. Okay, capiche? All right. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Honestly, I got all this information from the back office. If you go into the training tab, it gives you a list of everything, all the different ranks and what you should be doing at that point. And I kind of made it my own. But it's been a little eye-opening for me to go through it and read it, because I realized that there are certainly some things I could be doing better. So by training you guys, I'm also checking myself and reminding myself that I need to refocus as well. All right, so that's all I got for tonight. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys, and I hope to see that homework. Remember, I'm going to be raffling prizes at the end of the year, so the more homework assignments you guys complete, the more chances you have to win prizes. All righty, have a great night.